Okay, so we did dividing decimals by whole numbers. Now we're doing dividing decimals by decimals. This is a little bit trickier. So in this, I want us to first of all think about this, how we can turn our decimals into fractions, okay? So if we're talking here, if we're talking about 6/10, we've got a 6/10 here. There's 6/10, right? 6/10 can be written this way and it can be written this way. And it can be written over here this way. Okay, we know from the rule of decimals that we can add as many zeros onto that 6/10 as possible and just call it different names. 6/10 is 60 hundredths. 6/10 is 600 thousandths. That is only a rule for decimals. That cannot apply. We can't say I have 6 ones. Oh, let's call that 60 tenths. No, that's not true. It only applies to decimals, and here's why. Okay, remember that if I have 6/10 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here's my 6/10. Okay, 6/10 are the lines. 6/10 are the lines, right? There's our 6/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. But look at those boxes. We know that there's 10 hundredths in each tenth. So how many hundredths is it? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. There we go, 60 hundredths. Okay, so if we have a tenth here, we want to call it a hundredth. We add a zero onto the hundredth, and we add a zero on top. That's the rule. We add 2 zeros here for the thousandths. We can call 6/10 60 hundredths. We can even call that 600 thousandths, right? We added 2 zeros here, so 2 zeros here. Okay, 6 ones, we're going to call that 6 ones, is how many tenths? Well, add a zero here, add a zero up top, 60 tenths. 6 ones is how many hundredths? We add 2 zeros here, so we add 2 zeros here, 600 hundredths. 16 ones is how many tenths? Add a zero here, add a zero up here, 160 tenths. 16 tenths is equal to 1,600 hundredths. All right, 5 hundredths, we add a zero for the, so that becomes, we're adding one more zero here, so that becomes 50 thousandths. All right, here's why that's important. Let's see. So I'm looking at 6/10 divided by 2/10. This is another way, another situation where it's going to be helpful to us to write it as a fraction. Sorry, 6/10 divided by 2/10. Write it as a fraction. It'll be easier to see it. So the question that we're asking is, how many groups of 2/10 are in 6/10? How many groups of 2/10 are in 6/10? All right, here's what we get to do. 6 divided by 2 is 3. There are 3 groups. That's what our answer is saying. And you might be scratching your head because you're saying, I thought we were talking about decimals. Well, we are, because look, we're saying how, I'll write it down so you can see this, how many groups of 2/10 are in 6/10. Okay, let's circle 2/10. Here's 2/10 right here. Here's 2/10 right here. Here's 2/10 right here. How many groups are there? There are 3 groups. There we go. That's where we get the 3. That's why it's a whole number. Okay, now let's look at the next page. Okay, the next page looks very similar, but in this case we're talking about 6/10 and 2 hundredths. Now, this is tricky. Let me show you why. We're talking about 6/10 here again. Okay, 6/10. Okay, we're talking about 6/10. Let me finish coloring that in. Okay, here's my 6/10. Now what it's asking is, how many groups of 2 hundredths are in 6/10? Oh boy, you're kidding me. 2 hundredths, that's these tiny little guys. You're telling me I need to count all these? No, thank you. So now we're seeing that because we're asking about hundredths, we need to convert our tenths into hundredths. We need to consider our tenths as hundredths. We need them to match the second number. Okay, so 200, here we're talking about hundredths. We need to be able to talk about hundredths here because we're going and circling hundredths. We're not really talking, we're not dealing in tenths anymore. We're dealing in hundredths. Okay, so I make this hundredths. Do I get to keep it that way? No. It's not now 6 hundredths. How many hundredths is that? Add a 0 on bottom, add a 0 on top, 60 hundredths. Okay, this looks more correct. 60 hundredths divided by 2 hundredths. How many, again, how many groups of 2 hundredths are in 60 hundredths? That makes more sense. Okay, so how many groups of 200? Well, 60 divided by 2. Look, here's what, ignore that 0. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 60 divided by 2 is 30. That makes sense to me. Look at, if we had to keep circling these, I bet I would be circling 30 times. I don't want to circle 30 times, but I can see why I would have to. So the answer is 30. It's whole numbers. That's the thing. Dividing decimals by decimals gets us whole numbers. Okay, this one I think you can do on your own. I'll set you up for it. 6 hundredths divided by 2 hundredths. How many groups of 2 hundredths are in 6 hundredths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoopsies, I just did 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 hundredths divided by 2 hundredths. I think you can do that one. Let's find a harder one. Let's go to this one. Okay, let's do number 8, number 9. 6 divided by 2 tenths. Well, here's our 6. We're not going to need to color that in. 2 tenths. How many groups of 2 tenths are in 6? That's what a 2 tenth looks like. If we had to keep circling 2 tenths, we would have a lot of them. So I don't particularly want to do that. This is why we need to make it match. It's not matching right now. This is 6 ones, right? Not 6 tenths, 6 ones. Okay, let's make it tenths. Add the 0 here, and we need to add the 0 up here. It is 60 tenths. 60 divided by 2. Again, same answer, 30. Hey, look at that. It's the same answer, but we got it a different way. Okay, this one now. 6 divided by 2 hundredths. 6 divided by, oh my gosh, 2 hundredths. Sorry. Okay, even worse. Look at our 2 hundredths. This is a 2 hundredth right here. There's another 200th. There's another 200th. There's another 200th. Please don't tell me I need to go circling all those hundredths. I can't count that many. No. So we need to match it. We need to talk about our 6 as hundredths. Right now, we have 6 ones. We want to call it hundredths? Okay, let's call it hundredths. Wait, what? We can't just call it 6 hundredths. We need to, if we're adding on the bottom, we're adding on top. 600 hundredths. Okay, now 600 divided by 2. That's easy. 6 divided by 2 is 3, but we're talking about 600. So that's 300. And that makes sense. I think I would have to circle 2 tenths 300 times to get all of those 2 tenths circled. No, thank you. All right, I think you can do, this is, this on this page, you're going to need to set it up, right? 9 ones divided by 3 tenths. Okay, what do? This is 63 hundredths divided by, 7 hundredths. The question is, are they matching? If they are, you may go ahead and divide. If they're not, then you need to make the first number match the second number. Okay, so like this one, we need to make that first number match the second number. That's not going to work. We need to make it tenths and tenths. Okay, let's look at this one. 45 tenths is what we're looking at. 5 hundredths is what we're looking at. They don't match. We need to make that hundredths and we need to add on top. So look to the second number, see if they're matching. If they're not, then go ahead and switch it. Okay. this is very much the same. Okay, this is where it gets harder. Yes, it does get harder here. And I'm happy to give you more easier practice. I might just attach some onto the pack that I'm giving you. But the harder stuff looks like this. Okay, it looks really hard, but it's not that hard. Okay, so we're talking about 156 tenths, right? Divided by 12 hundredths. First step, are they matching? No, they're not. Okay, so then we're looking at 1,560 hundredths divided by 12. Okay, that looks super hard, I know, but here's how to do it. Can 12 go into 1? Nope. Oh, can 12 go into 15? Hey, yes it can, one time. 12 times 1 is 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. What do we do? Remainder, same as the other one that we were doing last. Okay, can 12 go into 36? Yes, it can. It goes 3 times. 12 times 3 is 36. And there's nothing left over. Here, and there's nothing left over. Okay, so that's our answer, 130. Okay, good job, you guys.